Many of us dream of going in a plane or, going on a ride on a plane to another country, another destination. We have our little enthusiasm of traveling. Then there are others who have the crazy fanatics of, let me be the pilot and drive the plane, and, to aspire to have that little dream of taking passengers from country to country. But it's a big task. Over the evolution that we've heard today, things have changed into the more digital, demanding era where aviation has completely changed as a complete whole. So today we're going to talk about the aviation industry currently, how it performs, how the whole structural base when it comes to airline instructing, as well as a few nitty-gritties on the ground as to what happens as well. So we have Tony Suryarachi, who is on my far right, who comes with a wealth of 36 years of experience, who has been based in Dubai, and he's the former Emirates aviation airline instructor who completes 36 years, and he's here with us to talk much more. And also we have with us Prasanna Gunawardana, who is the former airline manager for Sri Lankan Airlines, Etihad Airlines, and also Air Lanka, and also used to be the CEO for Danny Aviation as well, and he completes 38 years of experience in the aviation industry. So two great personalities here to share their experience, but we like to say hello and good morning to you. It must be completely different having your sets here in front of the cameras rather than looking at the sky and visualize yourself as to what direction you're going. Tell me, how did it all start? I mean, at a younger age, I do understand that aviation is quite an expensive industry to step onto, but what sort of instilled you to move into that?
Well, good morning and thank you for hosting us. And I would say it's everybody has their own dream kind of thing, and a lot of people likes to get into the airline industry because it's a glamorous job, I would say. And I also did the same when I was very young. And then I started my career with Air Lanka. Now they call it Sri Lankan Airlines. But I had the opportunity to go to Middle East. I was in the Middle East for about 35 years. So finally I was with the Emirates as an instructor. So once I completed almost 36 years, I thought it's better to come back to the country and try to do something to the country. So this is our main idea of doing something for the society, giving back something back, whatever we gain knowledge and everything. So that is our main purpose of having this. We are trying to launch a program, not only one, it's different fields, for the youngsters. Especially we are targeting the audience of the school leavers who have just finished the A-levels to join the programs. So this is a good step, or the first step to the airline industry
Aviation
career,
industry.
aviation.
Mr. Prasanna Gunawardana, your views?
Yeah, I started from 1979 when we started the operations of Air Lanka. We were the first batch to join.
That would have been a very interesting...
Yeah, interesting, and we didn't know anything about the aviation when we entered.
Okay.
But there was nobody to instruct us, to guide us or anything. So we learned from the bottom and came up to the top level. So actually I have worked in 5 countries now. So what we discussed was, most of our colleagues have now retired and come back to Sri Lanka after their stints in overseas. So we thought of giving our knowledge to the next generation.
Right.
So,
And that's why you are here.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the whole evolution of, since your experience, how it started? Those days it would have been on paper base.
Yeah, all manual. Yeah.
Everything was manual, and today it's
all
just
computerized.
Share us your experience with it.
Yeah, that's what we have experienced, that evolution for 3 decades now, right?
And how tough was it back then,
It was
to
really
do
tough,
everything manual? Because it's with an experience. And you have to know numbers to do it? Or?
Right, yeah. Everything should be in the memory. Now, even codes of the stations we had to memorize. But nowadays, you just push the button, you get all the details. Yeah. Even the load planning of the aircraft, everything had to be done manually those days. You get the information in paper from the check-in counters, and then you do the manual load sheet and all that. But now it is all computerized. The trim of the aircraft, everything, it comes automatically from
So those days, if you have to fly a plane, how long do you have to wait on standby to check all the details and then get on board?
The timing was the same.
Same?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now it took, it takes about 3 hours, right?
Yes.
To finish the flight from the check-in to closing the flight.
Okay.
It's the same, still the same.
Still, okay.
But the system
Less
is
amount
different.
of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't say less work, but it's a bit complicated than the
before.
earlier days. Yeah.
Okay.
Very well. The young generation, I think, is more into piloting rather than the ground planning and all, because they're very reluctant to start off with aviation, the ground planning, because not many of them have an idea as to what generally ground planning is. How do you enter this field? So I would like to know, Mr. Donia, what initiative do you need to take in order to get into this field? How do you enter, like, at first?
Yes, that's the idea behind this whole program. This is actually a stepping stone, I would say. It's actually a foundation program for entering to the aviation field. So if you have, because this program, what we are trying to launch, is about it's about all the components in the airport handling. So we are starting with the airline and aviation regulations. Then we go on to the passenger handling side. Then we move on to the baggage handling. Then we moved on to the cargo and the ramp. And then finally we are touching the aircraft weight and balance as well. So it's actually, I would say, it's a comprehensive program that we are trying to give them. So this is a foundation program for anybody who wants to be a pilot, or can be joining the airline, or maybe they want to join the ground handling company, or even it benefited for the travel agency staff, because when they're selling a ticket, if they know that they are having the background knowledge, it's always better.
That's right. So could you be able to, like, brief us a bit about airport ground handling? As in, generally, I think many of our audience would like to know, as in, generally not many people are aware as to what this airport ground handling is, what kind of a service is this. So would you like to brief us a bit about it?
Yeah, it is like, for example, starting with, you should know the regulations, rules and the regulations of aviation and airline. And then we moved on to the customer service. Customer service is one of the very, very important aspects of this kind of handling. Then we moved on to the passenger handling. Passenger handling means once they come to the airport, how do we check them in? We accept them, and we have to know about the type of passengers we are handling, and the passengers require special handling. So we have to know about all these things. Then we accept them. We need to know about the tickets, how to read a ticket. There are so many kinds of tickets. And then we moved on to the baggage side, because every passenger is traveling with a baggage, so we should know what type of baggage people bring, how to accept this, what are the conditions that we should be, and how to load them. And at the end, we should know also the mishandling baggage section, because sometimes passengers don't get their baggage on arrival. So that's an unfortunate situation. But there is also, we have a solution for that. We have a tracing department in every airport, whether they get the information and get the baggage within few hours or so. So it's so advanced in that. So after that, in this program, we go into the cargo industry. In the cargo industry, we are talking about the product knowledge and the documentation. So this is good for people who are going into the cargo agencies or the freight forwarders. It is the first step or the first foundation area. Then we moved on to the ramp, aircraft ramp handling. So that is where the aircraft comes in and goes back. So we call it this turnaround.
As in where the airplane is parked, isn't
Yes, the aircraft comes and parks. That's the ramp, we call it. In ramp, all the activities, what is happening is called turnaround. Turnaround means the aircraft comes in, we get the passengers off, we get the baggage off, we get the cargo off, and then we get the aircraft to be cleaned, refueled, and then the catering.
Time is limited.
Yes. So then we get the next load of passengers. baggage, cargo loaded, and of course with a new set of crew, it's ready to fly to the next. Now this is time, the time frame is there. Usually it's about 1 hour.
Within 1 hour we have to do everything. Offload the passengers, clean the aircraft, do the catering, and board the passengers, load the baggage, cargo, and everything should be done within 1 hour. So it is all timing.
Must be a hectic process.
I know, it's a pretty hectic process, and also the fact that the ground staff has a load of work to manage because it's not one flight.
Exactly.
They're not having a break.
Yeah.
They're in the scorching sun in our climatic condition, and I think in the Middle East it's even worse.
Oh, yeah.
When you handle all of that, how do you see it go? So is that the reason why that there are a lot of delays in certain countries, that we see flight delays, or could it be some internal maintenance issues that could take place?
Well, it's actually when it comes to the handling part, there won't be any kind of delay as such unless there's some reason for it.
Technical issue.
Probably technical reasons. That's the major delays normally. Or sometimes you might have the weather problems like destination weather or the station weather. So you can't depart the flight, so you can have to get the passengers off and find them accommodation, give them food, and that's a bit of a hassle. But again, all this process, there are a lot of departments are involved in this process. You name it, you have to say flight operations where the crew comes in, then the cargo section where the freight comes in, and you have the baggage section where the baggage comes in. We have the refuelers where the fuel comes in. We have technical services where they do the servicing of the aircraft, lavatory service, potable water, and all these things. So this is all linked.
Who is the key man who has to check all of this?
Well, if it is airline manager is the one who's totally responsible. But what he does, he dedicates this to a person called dispatcher.
Okay.
It's not a flight dispatcher, it's a ground dispatcher.
Okay.
So ground dispatcher is the one who controls all this. He used to take the timings, what time this thing happened, because he has to work in that time frame of 1 hour.
So he cannot use a mobile phone and be on the phone or check his...
You have to, but
officially. Yeah.
While he got a lot of equipments with him, because he has to contact so many people, but not personal calls.
Calls at all, absolutely.
Because that is all coordination.
Exactly. And I think he has to be in full concentration,
of course, yes,
to proceed, because there are so many lives that that they have to depend on, and it's not an easy task.
So the dispatcher is physically in the airport while the manager is responsible for his sections, is it?
So based on your experience, what are the challenges that you faced on air or in the air?
Challenges,
main challenge I would say is that in Sri Lanka, what I've seen is we are not very emphasizing on the training side of it, because whenever I was having my holidays in Sri Lanka, I used to come about 3-4 times a year. A lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of personnel, they were asking me about the Emirates Airlines. You know, Emirates Airlines is one of the prestigious airlines, and it's one of the largest, biggest.
So can you pause him for a moment? We have a break for you. Yep, we're in discussion with Mr. Tony Suryarachi and Mr. Prasanna Gunawardana on the very important facts of aviation industry. And right about now, we crossed a bit and spoke about the challenges that they're facing, and we were hearing about how people say Emirates is one of the best, what they find different about it. You were sharing your...
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. So when I was working with them, I had a lot of queries from Sri Lanka. Why don't we have that kind of training environment in Sri Lanka? So that's what the main reason behind this, having this program, launching this program. We wanted to give, of course, few of us got together and we thought, okay, why don't we launch this program and give our knowledge back to the society. Now, saying that, now what happens with the there's a general norm in Sri Lanka that they're saying that in aviation, airline industry, there's no much scope in getting a job. So that is the major challenge that we have, because they think that it's only just one international airport in the country, and that's the only place you get employment. So we are just trying to change that environment because there's a lot of developments happening in the country now. We have a lot of statistics we have gone through, we have done the research. Airport itself, we have found out that the Ratmalana Airport, they are going to do a renovation, they are going to upgrade it to land medium range aircrafts very soon. It's not approved as such, but the talks going on. What they are trying to do here is we have a very huge market for Maldivian traffic, where they come for medical and educational purpose. Now, when they come, they don't like to go to Katunayake and then spend 2 hours coming into the city.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that is one of the major attractions at the Ratmalana Airport. Along with that, some other airlines, they are going to have it in Ratmalana, so that's going to be the second airport. So jobs are created there. Apart from that, Matala Airport, everybody talks about it, but again, government is trying their level best to attract more and more foreign carriers. And with the highway now extending from Matara to Hambantota, I think it's just a matter of 2 hours connecting Hambantota with Colombo city. So these are the three airport side environments, I would say, that we can face this challenge on that. Apart from that, we have the tourism. You know, the tourism is booming and it's an untapped potential actually in the country. Now, what we are trying to do, now I have seen in the recent newspapers, the hotel field, Hilton Hotels, in Hilton International is building about 7 international hotels in Sri Lanka, in different parts of Sri Lanka. So that means the tourists are coming in. That means the airlines will become more people will travel. So we need a lot of people to work for the airlines. So there are challenges, but we have to make sure that we educate people. What are the benefits of this industry? Then only people will start coming in or make interest on doing that.
Very well. So many people will probably be, there's a potential for people to get job opportunities with the upcoming developments and all. So what benefits are we talking about, Mr. Dhoni?
See, when you're talking about the benefits, of course, we cannot guarantee a job after these programs. Definitely we cannot. But we can always guide them. We can guide the youngsters to what they should be achieving in their future. Because this is the stepping stone, I would say, or the foundation program for anybody to join aviation or airline industry. So once they do this program, they are equipped with something that rather than taking a fresher to a company, any company would like to have a person who's been trained in this aspect. So this was the main idea behind it, of getting them the trained, because we need some trained people, of course, in the few years to come. So that was our main idea of having this program and trying to get this across to the. So this is our first way of giving it to the public, communication. So to get the public to know about this.
Right. If they have to reach or contact you, how should they do that?
I didn't get you.
If they have to reach and contact you.
Okay. I have my contacts, like email address I can give to you. We have opened up a training unit. We have registered it in Sri Lanka. It's called Air Transport Learning Center. Now we are trying to launch this first program in somewhere in November, but we have not fixed the dates as yet. Somewhere in November. So I can get the email address of ours. Anybody who wants to get
the website?
Website is still under construction.
Okay.
So I will get that across as well. But we will be coming through with the newspaper articles, probably with these programs once they are ready to launch, and then people can inquire and they can get registered to the program.
Right. Any final thoughts, Mr. Prasanna Gunawardena?
Actually, other than development in Sri Lanka, you have to look around what is happening in the other airports in the region. In the Middle East, Doha airport, new airport is coming up. In Oman, new airport is coming up. So there are opportunities for the young generation. They don't get the old people to work there. So whatever the training they get, they are beneficial for them.
Because it's a good example of myself.
Yeah.
We were here, we had a very boom in Middle East job. So we used to go. So it's happening even now. Sri Lankan Airlines are finding it very difficult. All the trained people, after a few years, they try to go to the Middle East. So why not? If they get a better prospect, why not? So we should be training the people consecutively to get them into the business. So let them get the business, and that's good for the country as well, economically.
Right. So the program will come underway in the month of November.
Yes.
And I believe you can find out more details when the website will be launched to you. We'd like to say thank you to Mr. Tony Suryarachi and also to Mr. Prasanna Gunawardhanam for joining us on our show and sharing in the integrities from the aviation industry.
Thank you very much,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for hosting us. Thank you.
It's Wednesday, and this is where we're going to say wind up. It would have been nice if we got free tickets to go across the world, something like that. But unfortunately, we are going back to work. That's how, because our bosses are waiting for us. Have yourself a fantastic Wednesday. See you.